Now this is a classic example of what I try to express in lots of occasions, that the world isn't quite what we think it is or project onto it, and very often it is the opposite of what we're thinking. Now when I look at these footprints, when I gaze at them, what happens is, just like the effect of the Necker cube, when you look at it for about 20 or 30 seconds, it will change sides. One side is the left-handed cube, the other way it's a right-handed cube. And why this happens is because our minds are trying to figure out what it is in actual fact. Because our minds recognize this kind of wire cube. If any of you are familiar with the Necker cube, we recognize that as a pattern, but then when we look at it for a few seconds, our brain then switches it to look at it from another perspective. Now when I look at these footprints in the sand, initially they appear to be imprinted in the sand, which of course is what they are. But just like now, they have switched from appearing to be imprinted to be embossed upon the sand. And I don't know whether the camera's catching this, probably not, because it's the brain's interpretation of this reality, you see. But it's very, very curious to understand that this is what our mind does. And so when we look at something, if we just have a glance at it, or if we are projecting what it is, then we have made up our minds what we are looking at, and the brain often doesn't want to change that. It becomes comfortable with it. But if you haven't made up your mind what you're looking at, and if you're looking at something as if for the first time, then your mind will play around with itself and try to discover all of the facets, and then you will be privy to these facets, and that way you can see a whole lot more about everything that you look at.